being black in the UK means you're guaranteed to be a victim of racism. And just like in America, the people who make black people victims of racism are our servicemen and women. The same people who are supposed to protect and serve our country. Like anytime there's a black person around, the police love to spam, stop and search. Or if they can't find any black people to stop and search, they will literally go to black deprived areas, dress up in undercover clothes, stand there and wait for a black person to incriminate themselves or do something suspicious.
You weird, buddy. You're weird.
Like the Undy epidemic, it's crazy in the UK, but that's a story for another day. And it's not even just the police, it's also ex-army officers as well. Because one day I was waiting for the tube, I saw these two people in red who were ex-army veterans. Curious about who they were, I went up to them and engaged in a conversation with them. They were both white. One of them was absolutely cool. He was nice, he wasn't racist in any type of way. But the other one, the smaller one, that nigga was weird. So first I started thanking them for their service, asking them what they did, what they fought in, what the medals meant. Then the non-racist guy, he was cool. He was answering my questions, no issue. The weird guy, he started asking me like, why are you asking me these type of questions? Why do you want to know? He was moving way too prestige. And I'm not trying to disrespect no army, war vets and stuff like that, but in the nicest way possible, this nigga had 2 badges on. Like that was probably hard to get. But you're talking like you were the other guy. Like the other guy had like 8 or 9. He had multiple rows of that bitch. That nigga was hard and he was calm, collected and humble. But this other nigga with the 2 badges, he was moving bad, weird. And then after we talk about army stuff, I told him that I'm on a school trip with my school. The cool guy told me where he was from. The other guy told me what area he was from, but he was moving very vague. And then that same guy said to me, you're African, aren't you? When you going back to your country?
I beg your pardon?
I was really perplexed about what came out of his mouth, and I was also curious as to why he thought he could say something like that to me. So I let out a cathartic sigh to try and relieve some stress, and I was really contemplating what I should do to this guy next. I'm also keeping note that he has 2 badges. He is old as fuck, so I could have probably fucked him up. But then I quickly gained my composure and calmly replied, no, I am from the UK, sir. Then he started getting defensive and said, no you're not, you're from Africa. Then I stood there thinking like, what the fuck does this nigga mean? I'm like, why would he even assume that? First of all, second of all, Africa's a continent. Third of all, I'm not African, I'm from the Caribbean. But obviously, I didn't say that because this is a army veteran. I'm not gonna be disrespecting him. But instead of engaging in a conversation, I heard the tube coming, so that's where I knew I could make my quick escape and go back to my group. Because keep in mind, I'm on a school trip and I've left my group behind. So I say my goodbye to the chill guy, he shook my hand, no problems. The other guy, I put my hand out to him, he looked down at me in disgust. I didn't have a time nor energy to argue with him. I just put my hand down, walked away, went back to my group and kept it pushing. And it's not always just racism, sometimes it's just plain old ignorance. Like when I used to get my hair braided, white girls in particular always used to ask me, can I touch your hair? Can I touch your hair? And sometimes they wouldn't even ask my consent, they would just start touching my hair. And don't even get me started on the white boys that just recently found out about dreads. So any minor mishap that happens in your life, they will tell you to get dreads. You could have a cavity, they'll tell you to get dreads. Your grandma died, get dreads. You have a heart disease, get dreads. Like my nigga, dreads is not the solution for every single issue in life. And what pisses me off more, them niggas don't even know what dreads are. And what annoys me more is the thugs in the UK. And this is less of an issue for black females, but it's a massive issue for a black male in the UK, especially when you're not a thug just like myself. In the US, the thugs have a lot more morals and principles. They serve the community sort of, they don't harm the members of a community too tough as long as they're not involved in nonsense. But in the UK, it doesn't matter who you are, you can be a victim of the thugs. And when you're a black male like myself, a lot of the times when they approach you, they will always ask you the same question. Do you smoke? Once you hear that question, just already know that you are cooked because you have already been caught in their genjutsu. Now there's one of 3 ways this could play out. You either say yes and they give you something, sell you something, ooh, is comfy. And then there's the unlikely situation where you say no, I'm good, and everything is comfy. And then there's the most common situation where if you say no, they are going to rob you because they always proceed with a question, what's the time? Or what phone do you have? Once they ask you that, you already need to know your phone is gone. They're gonna take that away from you one way or another. And I promise you, they're gonna try their hardest to take that phone away from you. They're not focused on no jail time. They don't give a fuck. They just want to get that phone off you. So now from here, you can either do one of three things. Give them the phone to avoid problems, but that means you losing your phone. You could run away, but running away has its risk because they are guaranteed to chase you. And when they are chasing you, they would have their bankai equipped. And if you're not fast enough, they are going to leave you like Ace. And they're going to take your phone. Or you could pick the third option where you fight. Me personally, I'm the type of guy to run away because I'm very confident in my speed. But if you're not as agile as I am, you either have to give them your phone or fight. But 9 times out of 10, if someone's trying to take your phone, I promise you, they are not strong. So you could probably punch them up. But I guarantee they have that bankai on them. So you gotta be careful. And it's not even just phones they try to take. It's also jackets. Like back in the day, if you had a Canada Goose on in certain areas, you were almost guaranteed to lose that jacket as well as your life. And recently, Moose Knuckles as well. If you have that shit on in certain areas, they are going to take that shit from you. And when it comes to the jackets, the GM are a lot less polite. They pull out their bankai and put it right to your face. So running and fighting is really not an option. Unless you've mastered the flash step, where you could get away in an instant, you will just have to give them the jacket. And sometimes you don't even need to have anything on you for a GM to press you. One day, I was in an area that wasn't my own. I had my head down, and then this guy came up to me. He was asking me where I was from, and instantly, my mind knew what was going on. So then my dumbass decided to say, chill bro, I promise you I'm not on nothing, I'm just trying to go home. And I forgot to mention that some GM are not all the way there in the mental space. So that brother started screaming at me, getting mad at me, saying, do you know who I am? Are you on me? Stuff like that. Saying, do you want to die?
What do you mean by that?
And when I heard, do you want to die? Everything just froze around me. Not only did I start to realize the severity of a situation, because a man really said to me, do you want to die? I was really just replaying that in my mind. Not as much because I was scared, but more so because I was confused. That was the first time I had someone say that to me. So I was taken aback at why someone would ask me such a stupid question. Because who the fuck would answer yes to that question? Why is that even a question? And I'm trying to de-escalate the situation. Tell him to calm down, saying you're good bro, you're good bro. And then he says, I know I'm good.
We do not care.
So I'm really standing there, really contemplating, really reflecting on my life. Because I'm generally thinking I'm going to die. Because this man is not listening to reasoning. When he starts saying to me, do you value your life? Again, I was very perplexed at this question. And I was also very curious about his chromosome situation. Because if I didn't value my life, why would I be trying to de-escalate a situation before you pull out your bankai and end mine? Then I quickly realized this brother had to be on something. But I might have realized a little bit too late. Because he's already clutching that zanpakuto, getting ready to unleash his bankai on me.
Hey yo, what the fuck?
He had the Mickey Mouse trim as well, no belly, so I knew he was tapped. The Mickey Mouse trim with a black face mask is a devious combo. And it's not like we're in an alleyway or something. We are in a residential area. Then after a while, he calmed down a little bit and asked me what phone I have. And let me give you a quick reminder. Me explaining this may have taken long. But in reality, this was like a quick 70-second exchange. Because as soon as he asked me that question, I hit the dash. I was like, TK doing the race. I've never ran so fast in my life. And back in them times, my cardio was not all the way there, but I was running at full speed for God knows how long. I ran all the way to the train station, which was like 10-15 minutes away from where I was. And ever since, I've never stepped back to that area ever again. But I was fortunate enough to come out unscathed. But if that guy was a little bit quicker, he would have stripped me of my clothes, my dignity, and damn near even my life. But hey man, that's all we got time for so far. I know I did talk about lots of bad stuff about being black in the UK, but there are good stuff, but there's also a plethora of more bad stuff that I could talk about. If this video does well, I'll drop a part 2. But in the meantime, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding, and all will be well.